Okay, if you look at my thing, I'm making I started making the two queens first.
Uh-huh.
That should, like, I have enough larvae so that if you come with a bunch of lings, I
Uh-huh.
can just make enough lings to defend against it.
Okay.
And I'm also dropping a baneling nest on the back of that,
Right.
so that soon enough I can stop making lings or not make any more lings and
Uh-huh.
just morph a couple banelings for defense.
Right.
Right? So it's not a really offensive baneling nest. It's just in case you're going for like heavy link pressure or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing is, if you're not going for heavy link pressure, if you're going for roaches or something like that, then I
Uh-huh.
have nothing to be scared of, because roaches are super slow, and again, if it's not an all-in, they're just sitting there,
Gotcha.
right? You don't really ever make like 4 roaches and move out with 4 roaches,
Right.
So whenever they're going roaches, you have to be active with your first 2 or 4 links and scout if they're making more on the back of that. Or you had pretty good overlord position at my expo.
Uh-huh.
So for example, you can check if I'm saturating that expo, if I
Right.
have a lot of drones or not,
Mm-hmm.
and that will tell you whether you can or can't make drones. So
Right.
little things like that, like overlord placement or just running links by once you get speed to check
Mhm.
how many drones they have or how many units they have, will tell you whether you need to make units or not. And otherwise, I'll just be droning up.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's unpause in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, I always just shied away from the early Ling Baneling because it just felt so back and forth, you know? It's like you produce a ton of lings, or you produce a few lings, send them to their base, and then they produce more lings, and they kind of come back to your base, and it just kind of goes back and forth. So that was why I kind of started throwing down that early roach warren, just so that I could get, like, 4 or 6 roaches for defense, enough to block the ramp. And then if they haven't expanded, then I can put an expansion plan and use those 4 or 6 roaches for defense.
Right.
And I'll be ahead on my expansion, hopefully.
Yep. What you can do to replace that with the build that I'm going is maybe just 1 or even 2 spine crawlers, or like you're making.
Uh-huh.
And that should be more than enough to just hold any number of links and banelings, plus the queens. Like,
Okay.
you see I have 2 banelings positioned nicely. I mean, that can take on a ton of links, you know?
Right.
So right now I'm not making any more links or banelings because I see that you have 2 spine crawlers and that you're droning up your natural.
Right.
So I'm just free to drone up right now. And if you look at the drone count, I'm already 10 drones ahead.
Gotcha. Right.
So that's huge, and it's
Is
because
that-
you're making roaches.
Gotcha.
Now, if you decided to move out with this amount of roaches, I can
Uh-huh.
easily produce enough units that I can, and I also have a roach warren up.
Right.
I just started producing roaches because I'm saturated now.
Uh-huh.
But if I needed to make roaches earlier, I can. You know, if I scouted instead of 2 spine crawlers, just 5 roaches
Uh-huh.
and no drones at your expo, then I would have just started making roaches right away. If my roach farm's not up, I would have dropped 2 spine crawlers and started making a ton of links, and so on.
Gotcha.
If it goes to link baneling, which is what you don't like, you say.
Right.
I like your SimCity, by the way. It's really nice.
Ah,
If you don't like that link baneling thing, there's always, like, you can always fall back to the couple spine crawlers and the bane links at the start, and
Right.
the fact that I get 2 queens early on helps a lot too. But then anything after, you need a roach warren. So if you see he's going heavy on link baneling, just try and drop a roach warren behind it and start
Uh-huh.
making roaches behind it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I always just felt like my micro was just not good, especially my Zergling and Baneling micro. It's just too fast. Can't keep up.
Yeah, it's pretty fast. You seem pretty fast though, just from hearing your keyword.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't
What's
know.
your game? Let's check.
I don't know.
Yeah, you drop
90.
pretty low, but you spike pretty high too.
Yeah.
So you can definitely you can definitely be faster than you are right now. You're spiking at like 300 or whatever. So it's probably just practice.
Yeah, and some of it is just spam too.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it is just spam, but yeah.
Yeah. So with the build that I'm doing, I can first off, I had my overseer, so the reason I'm moving out with this roaches is because I know that your lair's later,
Uh-huh.
so my speed should be sooner. So worst case scenario, I can run back and lose
Right.
nothing.
Okay.
So it's okay. It's okay that I can poke in like that, but don't poke in if you're the one with the later lair.
Gotcha.
Behind that, I was making infestors.
Yeah.
So I can get away with having less roaches.
Right. What do you use? What do you use to trigger your infestation pit? Like, do you just is there a time that you throw it down at, or do you just scout for something in particular? What do you look for when you start getting your infestation pit up?
Just that I have enough roaches to be safe for the most part, or to survive long enough. Like, you know, like if the amount of roaches that I have and the amount of roaches that you have fight at a choke, it's gonna take them a while to break each other off.
Right.
So it's kind of like you don't want to have too much timing in between where you can die. But there's always like super small times. So sometimes, like for example, you lose a third or something like that while you're transitioning to infestors. It's pretty much impossible to cover every ramp. So say if you attacked maybe, I don't know, 30 seconds earlier, you might have been able to make me cancel my third or something like that. Now you made a lot of roaches, and you can see your floating minerals.
Yeah.
You can definitely take a faster third. And that's really important in ZvZ, because once you do get to infestors, it's almost insignificant if you have 10 or 15 more roaches.
Right.
If your fungals are good and you have good position. So yeah, like the place that I chose to fight with my infestors was really good to have infestors against no infestors, because everything's in a choke there.
Right.
You know, so the fungals are gonna have the best effect ever. Yeah, you can see I take my fourth and my gold as well, and I'm mostly just mining gas from that.
Right.
I will saturate them, but more important in ZvZ is to mine gas. The later the game gets, you need hydras as well for DPS, or at least I like that.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like, and you have to be really careful. I lost a game against Hydra earlier today, where I was a little bit scared that he would push at some points in the game, and I shouldn't have been. But what that ended up being is it's okay to float the money in ZvZ, because all you need is gas. So it's okay that you're floating a little bit of money as long as you're spending and mining a lot of gas.
Okay.
Right. So what happened in that game was I had only like 4 infestors or 5 infestors. Then I maxed on roaches and only had like 5 hydras. Whereas his army was a little bit smaller, but he had better units.
Okay.
So, and the same thing happened to him against me like 2 days ago, where I just had more infestors and more hydras and I won. So you gotta be a little bit careful with that too. What else? I don't want to flood you with stuff, but just can't think of. This build is actually pretty safe against Roachling all-in as well. As long as you can scout it in time, like run a few links around. I actually want to show you really, okay?
Is it mostly just roach defense, or when they do go for a Roachling all-in, do you just use roaches and spines for defense, or?
Well, it's what I was telling you a little bit, like just like 5 minutes ago. It's what you call it? If you see that they're going all in and your roach isn't up, you can just make a shitload of links and maybe drop a couple of bankrollers right away.
Okay.
And then, but you should also drop a roach warren. And then as soon as the roach warren's up, you start making roaches instead of links.
Gotcha.
But yeah, let me send you this replay.
Okay. I also see that you've got this one roach burrowed at the front, like right at the beginning of the attack. You burrowed one roach there at the front. Is that just for scouting in case you need to pull back and see if I'm chasing, or?
No, it was just dying. It was in the red, and I didn't want to die.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you will see that we both open pretty much the same way, and we opened pretty much the same way for the last 3 games, right?
Okay.
So here he's gonna try to exploit that fact that he knows how I'm gonna open up, and I know how he's gonna open up.
Gotcha.
And but yeah, like just check out those other games so you can learn the opener a little bit better.
Will do. It's all gonna be the same opening that you did for the game versus me.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, it's a little bit different here and there, just because like he will make more links, or like against Slush, I think I made a little bit more links because I saw he was making more links and stuff like that.
Okay.
well, where the game's against Hydra, I make less links because he's making less links, and
Right.
he makes less bane links, and I make less bane links, and it's kind of like whoever can get away with making less,
Right.
way more in economy.
Gotcha. Alright,
Okay.
so I'm at the beginning of this replay right now.
Okay, let's go ×2 and start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
So the Ling Roach all-in is pretty common, and it's one of the hardest things to stop, especially when you're doing a greedy build. So I wanted to show you how it works against it.
Okay, cool.
Defensive banelings, 2 base, 15 hatch. It's pretty good. So everything's pretty normal so far. Now you noticed I go I always scout and he never scouts. I don't know why. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just personal preference. It seems a little bit risky not to scout. I prefer scout. And I just pull back the drone because my overlord sees him.
Yeah.
But
you mean
yeah,
what, you mean he never
I
scouts
usually
with a drone, you mean?
Yeah, he never scouts early on. He scouts with his first 2 links.
Huh.
But then it's harder because he probably needs to save larva in case I'm going mass laying or in case I open temple or something like that. You know, it's just a little bit risky. You see, I usually drop the gas before pool. I only do that against people that I think are gonna fast expand though. Like go hatch first. Otherwise, you can just go 15 pool and then 15 gas or something. And then I take the drones off of gas except 1 because that one is gonna. Or, I'm sorry, except 2, because those 2 are gonna mine enough just for my baneling nest. That's all I need, since it's defensive banelings, I don't need that much gas.
Right.
And, again, he pretty much knows what I'm gonna do, and I pretty much, I think that he's gonna do the same thing that he's been doing. You can see, I usually drop a spine crawler like I was telling you, and I got those 2 queens available as well. So if he was going for really fast banelings or something, with my overlord positioning, I could just block my ramp and have that spine crawler soak a lot of shots until I can get defensive banelings.
Right. Now, do you usually just throw up spines just blindly? Do you just blindly throw up spines early on regardless of what you scout? Or is that only if you scout certain things that you throw up that spine? Well,
I'm being really greedy with this build. It's all about being super greedy. Let's pause. So one spine crawler is not gonna set you behind. It's just 1 larva, and you can definitely spend your money in the rest for drones. So yeah, I don't really. I pretty much do it every time. If anything, it denies scouting from links and stuff like that at the very least. And you know, if they're gonna push with some banelings or push like he's doing now, or just anytime or whatever, it's pretty good. It's just for safety.
Right.
Won't set you too far behind at all.
Okay, cool.
What are you at?